So 18 years ago, my mother gave up on my education. I was in the senior high school in my final exams and she couldn't afford to pay my fees, so I have to drop out. Yes, I dropped out of school because my mom couldn't pay my fees. And not because she didn't have it or she couldn't afford it. Of course, we were not rich, but she could afford it. So let's just say it wasn't her topmost priority. Maybe I wasn't necessarily the best kid she wanted me to be. I was troublesome, I was stubborn, I might be giving her so much problems. So she got to a level where she was just tired. Enough of me already. So she gave up. And in most cases, what happened in situation like this is you find yourself angry and want to blame that person who wasn't there at the time you need them. So in the quest of you being angry and blaming them, you destroy your life by making choices and decisions that you're not supposed to make or to take. So I was a teenager, drop out of school. What mostly you would do, or most people would do, you start smoking, start going out with friends, doing all sort of things that you don't need. You become more stubborn, you will not respect your parent or your mom or whoever. You're just going to live your best life in that time because, well, they don't care about you anymore. So you're like free, out of chains. I was disappointed in myself at the time. I had so much dreams and so much aspirations. And first of all, they even changed the course I had to do because in Ghana, you already choose the career you want to major in. So you choose a subject that is going to lead you to that career from the senior high school, and then in the uni you do your degree, your first degree, and then you upgrade to the master's degree. I wanted to be an aircraft engineer. My parents changed the subject. Instead of doing science, they changed it into business accounting. So I had to do business accounting in senior high school. I was already disappointed. I was not enthusiastic because that is not what I wanted. I was prepared for science. So already I started having problems. And then I got to a level where my education wasn't a priority and I have to drop out. In the family that I am coming from, it was really tough. Really, really, really tough. My mother wasn't stable and she's still not stable, but do I actually have to blame her for her decision or the choice she made? No. I focus on the right decisions and the great sacrifice she took for us because I went to one of the best schools growing up. I went to private schools, of which the school fees are like 3 times way higher than the public schools. And I was in that school. She provided everything. We never lack. She provided everything as far as our education is concerned. But then she gave up. So I picked my life at that stage as a teenager, becoming an adult, and told myself, I'm gonna do this on my own if she doesn't want to be part of it. So I started working, I searched for jobs, and I started working at a filling station as a pub attendant at the time, and then I stopped, and then I started also working in a pharmacy shop as a drug dispenser. From there I went into acting. Oh, I have been into so many sectors. And alongside, I also schooled. I was taking computer course. I also tried getting a certificate in broadcast journalism, which I got it. I tried to venture into the career. It didn't help at the time because it was male-dominated field in Ghana at the time. So I gave it up. I was just hungry to be successful or to have a stable life regardless of the fact that I dropped out of school, regardless of the fact that I didn't have support from home, financially, emotionally, or whatever. I was just not giving up. I'm just going to keep going and going and going. So I try something, it doesn't work, I don't see the door, I have to try another one. I'm looking for that door. And I told myself, when I find that door, when I find that opportunity, I'm going to kick right in and get into it. So I tried so many careers to a point where I was working as an administrative assistant to a CEO of a dancing company. Now, through this period of my life, it became really drastically tough because I became homeless at a point of time. I didn't have a place to sleep because I left home to hustle, and I was not going home. There was no way I was going back home empty-handed like a baby and crying and allowing my mommy to see that indeed I was a failure and that she made the right decision to give up on me. I wasn't going back home. Never. So I would prefer to be homeless and hustling and get what I came out to fight for before going back home. Now, there was no time I ever stopped to blame her for the support she didn't give me. No. I was homeless, but I was working, and I was at the age of fixing my life, getting an apartment, having a nice job, and being a happy girl. Through going through relationships that weren't really helping, so much drama, so much going on in my life, and I have to handle it alone. No one to really share this moment with. I was by myself. I was my friend, I was my own mother, and I was my own father, and I was my own sister. I shared all of that with myself without blaming anyone. Because I realized what happens in most cases is when you give in into blaming some other person for not being there for you, for not taking that sacrifice or decision they needed to take to be there for you, to help you, to push you, it's still that moment that you could use to invest into finding another opportunity or a way out of your situation. It's still that moment, and you focus on blaming them, and then you take decisions that are not going to be healthy for you, that are not going to actually lead you to the path where you need to be. So I was just on my own. I had an accident, kept me in the hospital for about 3 months, and everything I had worked for, I had labored for, crashed. So I had to start from one. I had a fracture in my leg, so I couldn't walk, and I couldn't do the previous work I was doing as an administrative assistant because my boss wasn't in the country, so I was in her place. I was pretty much doing more than just an administrative assistant. I was moving about, and without a stable leg, without a healthy leg, I cannot do that work anymore. So my position was changed. But there was already a lot of conflict and misunderstanding in the company, which led to my accident. So I wasn't going back to that company. I wasn't going back. So I have to start from zero, looking for another career again. I had to borrow money from people to go for interviews. And finally, I found a job. But as an apprentice, because I have no skills about that job, I had no knowledge about it. I dove into it. I was trained as a masseuse, and I started working as a masseuse. In less than 1 year, I stopped working for that company and started working as a freelancer. And from there, I started building my own business by having a spa with 6 rooms. In less than 2 years, I was an apprentice, became a freelancer, and started building my own business, having a spa in a 4-star hotel with 6 rooms, 6 treatment rooms and different workers in different departments. That's how determined I was. And then after that, I gave up on it because my calculations for that business was wrong. So I was losing more than I should gain. I realized that my income was going into a different direction. So I decided to travel and I came to Europe. Now, what I want to give you, the good lesson I want to give you in my story is that the fact that somebody gave up on you, could be your parent, your husband, your wife, your best friend, or somebody you trusted to be there for you gave up on you, doesn't mean that that's the end of you. The key to the successfulness of your life is in your hand. So this is the moment. Blaming time is over. Blaming our parents, blaming others for our failure or the point that we are in our life right now has got an expiring date. And that expiring date is this day you're listening to this message. I'm here to encourage you, to tell you, you need to stand up. You need to let it go and take in charge of your life. Start building your life. Focus on you. Find your potentials, your skills, and build on it. It's never too late to start from zero. The journey is not going to be easy. It's going to be really, really tough. If I have to dive into every circumstances that I went through and every challenges that I face to this day, I am still not even close to where I want to be. But I am very, very, very far away from where I started. Very. And I believe so much that everybody, every human being on earth is capable of rising up above where they are now, only if you do want it, only if you take in charge of your life and tell yourself, I'm not going to give up and I'm not going to allow someone's decision on me, upon my life, push me into a corner and turn me into that little man or that little woman or that little girl where I cry, feel miserable, less self-esteem, depressed, and just end up like that. No, don't allow that. Instead, build your life with all those broken pieces that is being thrown at you. It's never going to be easy, but you are going to be happy. It's worth giving it a try. And you will never fail, because you learn when you don't get to the point you want to get to. There is no point or stage called failure. Failure is when you do not at all give it a try. Failure is when you do not at all stand up and take a chance. Blaming time, blaming period, is over. It's over because it's your life. And when you come across any opportunity, kick that door, grab that opportunity, and use it to your own benefit. My name is Mifid, and have a beautiful day.
Stay motivated and inspired.